It's Tuesday afternoon, and you know what that means. It's time for Randomity with the Random Christian Show. Today, the Random Christian Show is happy to welcome back comedian Bob Smiley. The Random Christian Show is brought to you by Mrs. A's Famous Salsa Buena, a unique blended salsa loaded with cilantro and just the right amount of heat. Mrs. A's Famous Salsa Buena is available in stores across California, Colorado, Nevada, and Southern Oregon. To find a store near you, just visit mrsafamous.com. The Random Christian Show is proudly supported by The Advisor. The Advisor is a Facebook group created by Colonel James Nilbrotis, composed of multi-talents such as actors, directors, artists, writers, and more. If you fall into this category, contact them on Facebook at The Advisor. The Random Christian Show can now be seen and heard on the Rabbit and Red Radio Network. Check them out at rabbitandredradio.com. Intro music provided by the Dead Campers. Check them out on Spotify and at deadcampers.com. Next week, the Random Christian Show is interviewing actors, writers, and producers Ashley Hargrove and Wynn Reichert. My name is Andy. Now here's your host, Christian Random.
Hey!
Yo!
It's us. It's Tuesday. It's 4. It's very close to 4, and
Right.
I think we've done very well-ish. Kind of.
Right.
Andy, we're 6 minutes later than 4, so
That's okay. It better than last week. We were 20 minutes.
yeah,
Yes.
and so far no technical glitches. So thank you, Spectrum.
Speak for yourself.
Well, on the main central line, we are having no central glitches.
Right. Everything's fine in Kansas City.
Yeah. So far, so good. Now everything's gonna melt apart because you said that. So thanks, Andy.
Trust me, I'm all held together by a string over here.
That guy's Andy, and we are the Random Christian Show. Thank you all for checking us out, tuning in. Very excited to have returning guest Bob Smiley with us. We're a little new and improved since he's been on, so hopefully we can match his splendor as well. And there's the cat.
Shadow wanted to say hi. Hi,
yes.
baby.
And
hi.
And where's my food? I'm going to school later. Yes. So we let's see what. Oh, big news. We're moving. Yes.
Wait, we're moving?
Well, we're just going to move forward in time, I guess. We are going to move to Fridays.
Ooh, we're moving up in the world.
Yes. Well, hopefully. We've been doing a lot of polling and researching, and we're finding that people would really love to see us more on a Friday schedule where they can have some time to enjoy the show a little bit easier instead of during the weekday. So we've opted for Fridays. What is the cat doing?
No. Your explanation of why we're going into Friday is amusing me.
Okay, we just decided that we're going to move to Fridays. Sure, sounds good that we polled people that have no interest in anything about nothing. I asked 2 people on the street, hey, would you rather listen to a live stream show on Tuesdays or Fridays? They're like, I don't care. So we went with Fridays.
So thank you, Lois, for allowing us to let us go on Fridays.
Basically, that's what's happened.
Right. All right. Right.
So yeah, after the first week in February, after Dale Valor comes on and talks about Valentine's dating tips and whatever, we will be starting our Friday show. So very excited. And if you're watching at home, we have what's called the chat. We will be enabling it here soon, so you can ask Bob questions or us questions or the cat, and we'll be moving forward from there. We also have our new Random News Network team with Travis Dunn and friends, his co-anchors. We will have them all here shortly. In the meantime, Andy, how's everything in the Pacific Northwest?
You know, things are great. It's all the ice has melted, which is awesome. I'm very happy for that. I don't have to be scared when I drive anymore, which is awesome. No, things are great. Xander's youth basketball team is 2-0
Oh,
so
all
far.
right, coach.
So yeah, so it's a far cry from last year where we lost every game.
So there's improvement.
There's improvement. Yeah, it's a different team, and we got dealt a much better deck this year.
Yeah. So does that mean you take the cat and throw it out on the court, and there's like, oh, kitty, and then your team scores like 10 baskets?
Right. Yeah, the cat's our 5-man, and definitely we put a little jersey on her too, and and then she distracts all the players, and then we start scoring.
It's like Toots the cat out driving around.
Right. Yeah.
Get the ball.
Yeah.
Shoot from the 3. Shoot from the 3. Meow. Right. Well, okay. So, Andy.
Yes, sir.
I think we're doing.
What are you doing?
I think I'm moving. We never had Bob hook his socials up.
You know what? That's my fault because of my technical.
No, it's my fault. I take full blame. It's all my fault.
Yeah,
it usually is. I'm the technical error guy. So, oh no, wait, wrong one. There it is.
That's the one. That's the one right there.
So, I think our next best thing to do is to go ahead and get our theme music going for the Random 9 list.
Random 9!
No! All right. Yes. Our Random 9 list, the crackheadish team of researchers has gone out polling people in restaurants and supermarkets and sometimes dark, seedy saloons and ask people questions and come up with what we like to call the Random 9 list. It is a list of 9 things, and this week they've come up with 9 random things said 1 minute before a historical event. So they put together quite some interesting research, and we've got it all here for you because this is what we do for you. And besides grooming cats on the side.
Right.
So, without further ado, I think it's time to go ahead and start our Random 9 list of things said 1 minute before a historical event. Post nailed it. What's up? Yeah. Again, that's an old radio thing, kids. Sorry, you don't get that, but I do. Andy kind of appreciates it. And
I totally do. I've been in studios where I've seen people, do their best to hit the post. Yeah, and it's a big deal. They take it super seriously.
Sometimes a little too seriously, but
right. Yeah.
We're proud of our post hitting, and that did not sound right at all.
No, it really didn't. But you know what? Let's run with it.
Yeah, we're going for it. All right. So here is 9 random things said 1 minute before a historical event. We'll start with number 9. George Washington, before crossing the Delaware. Is my wig on straight? Heyo.
Heyo.
All right. Let's go with number 8.
So we'll keep it in the same sort of historical era right there. John Hancock to the Continental Congress. That's due tomorrow?
Heyo. Heyo. Yep. All right. It's like, so now I'm staying up all night. Thanks, guys. Got
right.
All right. Where are we at? Number 7. Oh, Orville to Wilbur Wright right before their first flight. Hold my bear. Heyo. Yep, that gets the DJ air horn.
Nice.
Let's see. Man, we're still kind of back in the old days here. Number 6.
There you go. Abraham Lincoln at intermission. I can't wait to see how this play ends. What, too soon?
Oh, we're probably the only ones laughing at this, but
probably
that's because we're horrible people. So we get that. Number 5 of the random things said 1 minute before a historical event. The Chernobyl technicians. These things are so automatic, they practically run themselves. that was kind of a Scottish.
What? What? Yeah, seriously. Is Chernobyl in Scotland?
Let's go have American cigarette, and I'll show you my new black market blue jeans. And then we all know what happened, right? Because in history, Chernobyl melted down, had a big bad problem.
Scotland's biggest nuclear technology.
Oh, we're getting heckled from Bob in the green room.
Right.
Oh my God. Okay. Where are we at? Number 4.
Number 4. Number 4, 9 random things said 1 minute before a historical event. 7, 8, 9. Wait a minute, guys. Weren't there 10 vials here? And this was said by Chinese virus researchers in 2019.
Yeah. Achoo! Said the last dinosaur ever.
Right.
All right. Moving on to number 3 of the 9 random things said 1 minute before a historical event. Just before sentencing at the Salem witch trials. Hey, Zeke, those witch chicks are kind of hot. Think they'll get conjugal visits? Wait, what are you doing with that torch anyway? Heyo. Yeah, very few people are going to get that. So we're really going to have to talk to the crackhead team of researchers on these. Let's see. Number 2.
9 random things said 1 minute before historical event. I don't think that Stain is going to come out by Monica Lewinsky.
Oh God, Bob's wanting to cancel the show.
Yeah, right. We're gonna bring him in, and he's gonna be gone.
And we'll just get this. Bob? Oh, Bob.
All
right. Now the big finish. I'm not talking about a guy from Finland, or even a lady from Finland. Number 1, Neil Armstrong to NASA. That's one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind. And then the director cuts in to Neil. Let's do that one more time with some feeling, and then we're going to break for lunch. Hey-o! Yeah. And normally I'd throw my piece of paper in the air and blame it on our crackhead team of writers, but they're already out crackheading. So, all right. So that's the end of the random 9 list. And for many people, they're very thankful for such a thing. All right. So now we've got a special surprise. Yeah. We have our new news segment from Travis Dunn, who is the head anchor of the Random News Network team. Say that 5 times fast. Don't do it. So we've got this is a new thing that we are working with, and very, very excited for. So let's go ahead and bring in our news team. It's so weird to say that. We have our own news
is now. Really weird to say that.
With a weekly wrap up. Is it starting or is it just me?
No, I got it. It's all good. It's so when I bring it in, it starts, and then we're
Dude,
there.
and
So.
it's kind of impressive. I'm
It isn't it?
Yeah, we need to just be off screen at this point, I think. And,
I think so. So let's hit play. Here we go from the
Random News Network. Here it is with your anchor, Travis Dunn.
Good evening, everybody. This is the Random News. I'm Travis Dunn.
And I'm Jennifer Lee. Unfortunately, Bob can't be here with us this week because he got abducted by those 10-foot aliens.
Can't trust them or the Illuminati.
They like to abduct you and probe you any chance they get.
And speaking of that, Alec Baldwin has been indicted this week on involuntary manslaughter for
Heyo.
More technical problems here as we try to get this wrapped up. I think it's my computer that's messing this up.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So that's hold on one second.
Holding,
please.
So this is what happens when you do a live show. We have this wonderful news network video that was put together by Travis Dunn and his cohorts here. Unfortunately, we've got a little glitch in our giddy up, I guess, as they say. We're going to do you want to retry or
well, so I sort of created this video at the best quality that I could have here in hopes that just playing it from the computer would be fine. Give me 1 second. I'm going to try to do this from my other computer and see if we have the similar problem.
Let's all go to the lobby.
Let's all go to the lobby.
So while Andy's retweaking things, let's talk about a couple things that are going to be coming up on the show. Of course, this week we have the amazing and funny average boy creator, Mr. Bob SMILEY, who we'll be talking with here shortly. Next week, we're going to have actors and producers Ashley Hargrove and Wynn Reichert. They've put together quite a few movies that you've probably seen or heard of. Very, very excited for that. Plus, Mrs. A, our sponsor, is going to be doing another random recipe for Super Bowl. She's got a bunch of tasty treats lined up with all her salsas and whatnot. So make sure we are here for that so you get ready for your Super Bowl party. And then, as I said, February 6th, that will be the last Tuesday that we will be on. We will be going to Fridays after this. But that will be Dale Valor, who is our dating guru. He was on about mid last year. Very entertaining and a lot of fun. Great tips for guys on dating. I mean, we have a largely male audience. It's 65 to 45, but anyway, 35. Anyway, so anyway,
We should be ready.
we should be good. All right, I'm going to step to the side.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. This is the Random News. I'm Travis Dunn.
And I'm Jennifer Lee. Unfortunately, Bob can't be here with us this week because he got abducted by those 10-foot aliens.
Can't trust them or the Illuminati.
They like to abduct you and probe you any chance they get.
And speaking of that, Baldwin has been indicted this week on involuntary manslaughter for shooting and killing a member of the crew of the movie Rust.
And is it involuntary?
Well, you see, Jennifer, what he did is he pulled a gun, pulled the hammer back, aimed it at the person's heart, pulled the trigger, it went through that person, and hit somebody behind him as well. That's how it's involuntary.
Well, Alec Baldwin, what you need to do is take a page out of all of us unpregnant ladies' books and always act like it's loaded.
Sound advice, Mr. Baldwin.
So as far as traveling is concerned, if you plan on traveling for the holidays, just keep everything wrapped, mask, all that stuff, lots of hand sanitizer, because there is a measles outbreak in multiple airports right now. In addition to that, there is, just keep your fists up, because apparently there's brawls breaking out in with some baristas at a coffee shop. Apparently it's not just the coffee that's getting heated over there. Now, if you want to go on a plane and get treated like elite and higher personnel, red is supposed to bring out the servitude, I guess, of the flight attendants because they see you as high class whenever you wear red. Unfortunately, it dragging their attention can also drag the attention of attendants such as American Airlines' own Estes Carter Thompson III, who has been arrested and charged for having child pornography and attempting to sexually assault a child on a flight. In addition to something like that going on in air flights, all Nippon Airways, a gentleman took the name a little too seriously and nipped on a flight attendant while he was drunk and claimed to have taken a sleeping pill right beforehand, so says he doesn't remember anything. But I bet she sure does. Not to mention, stay safe in those skies because a Boeing 747 cargo plane had a leaking fuel valve and was spitting fire, making its best impression of a dragon over the Miami skies.
Cool. I'd like to see that. Yeah. The White House this week has canceled $5 billion in student loan debt for 74,000 borrowers.
Well, he needs to get his vote somehow, especially since Texas took it upon themselves to close off our borders.
Interesting. Speaking of security, Solomon Martinez, 26-year-old of Colorado, was arrested by the Pueblo police. In his possession, actually in his jacket, he had a severed hand. He claims he has no idea how the severed hand got into his jacket.
I wonder how they found it. I'm sure it sounded like rotten eggs, which is much what the robbers on the freeways are throwing at cars right now in an attempt to get them to pull over. Chicken Little is not saying the sky is falling. Just use your windshield wipers to get the egg off.
And speaking of that, in Memphis, Tennessee this week, an Amazon truck, semi-Amazon truck, was hauling down the highway and it hit an ice patch. Unfortunately, it left the road and wound up in a snowbank. Within minutes, passers-by actually stopped by, pried open the back of the truck, and stole the contents.
That's a nice watch you got there. Where'd you get it?
This old thing?
Yeah.
Oh no, I've had this for ages.
I haven't seen it before.
No, I haven't ever. Yeah, it's nothing. It's nothing.
Was it Arnold Schwarzenegger's on?
Oh, Mr. Schwarzenegger had a little problem as well in Munich, Germany. he flew in and he was detained for having an expensive watch with him. Who would have thunk it? Arnold Schwarzenegger had an expensive watch. But he did have these words as he was leaving the airport. I will not be back.
You know who else won't be back? A convicted child molester who tried to start his own cult in Berkeley, California. Fortunately, he didn't get very far and only had 4 adults and 2 children, but he did his very best to make an impression of Epstein.
Really?
Yes. What they should have done is gotten themselves some dentists for some fair justice, because apparently a lady got an unnecessary root canal and got some permanent brain damage and ultimately died from an overdose of fentanyl. So I would send those guys to get to that dentist to, get a root canal, see how that works out.
Makes you not want to go to the dentist, doesn't it?
Hey, if you're scared of them, you have an excuse.
And on the lighter news this week, well, over the holidays, it was released that Brenda Lee re-released Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree, which became the #1 Billboard song in the country. Which has prompted the Beach Boys to say, hey, if she can have a #1 song that she's already released 65 years later, we are re-releasing Kokomo.
Guess people got tired of listening to Mariah Carey. And hey, if music from the 80s starts coming back, at least we'll have something to listen to again, because today's music is not cutting it.
Welcome back, Motley Crue.
Love Nikki Sixx.
Oh yeah, and Bret Michaels, fun guys.
Yeah.
Anyhow, what else do we have in the news, Jennifer?
I think that about covers it, Travis.
Wonderful. Well, I am Travis Dunn.
And I'm Jennifer Lee.
And thank you for tuning in to the Random News. And may the good news be yours.
Heyo, do you like salsa? Are you tired of pretending you like what the mass-produced companies are giving you? Well, now you don't have to. That's right, Mrs. A's famous Salsa Buena is here to treat you right. They got 3 flavors like medium, hot, and salsa verde, all made with fresh, all-natural ingredients in a unique blended, authentic salsa with fresh cilantro and no onions. That's right, no more onion breath for you. It's the perfect complement to your favorite foods like burritos, steaks, flautas, nachos, enchiladas, chicken, and of course, chips. But there's so much more. Mrs. A's famous Salsa Buena has gone from a reward for her students now to the shelves in over 500 stores in California, and now it's expanded to Oregon, Nevada, Wyoming, and soon across the US of A. Amazingly fresh, all-natural, authentic, and delicioso, Mrs. A's famous Salsa Buena is near you. To find out where, go to www.mrsafamous.com, and you'll also get some great recipes, info, and so much more. Mrs. A's famous Salsa Buena. Reward yourself and eat buena.
Hell yeah! Eat some daggum salsa because it's good and good for you. There's vitamin C
Yes, it is.
in salsa. And,
So much good stuff in salsa.
and it'll help clean you out sometimes and
Will it?
get things rolling in the right direction. I'm just saying.
Okay.
It is Taco Tuesday, by the way, so go get you some Mrs. A's famous Salsa Buena.
There it
And,
is.
So speaking of eating up and getting our fill, and well, we just never get enough of this gentleman that we're bringing in right now from his worldwide tour across the state of Texas and Louisiana, I think, or something. Anyway, well, Texas is huge. I'm not gonna lie. Let's bring him in. Comedian, creator of Average Boy. It is Bob Smiley. Hey-o.
What's going on, guys?
Welcome
What's
to the
happening,
show.
Bob?
Dude, I gotta say, I love all the new changes in the show. And by that I mean Andy's cat. Like, here's what's funny. Like, I've known you guys for a while now. Some would say too long. I would say too
Yeah.
long. But I was like, as soon as you popped on whenever we were checking all the levels and everything, which evidently didn't matter because I saw the news show. Or I'm sorry, I saw half the news show, just
Right,
like everybody
yeah.
else. I
Yeah.
think that's brilliant because most news shows, they do a teaser and then during the actual show, they give all the news. You guys just stuck with just little teasers throughout where it just would pause and then no, it was great. But when Andy popped on, I was like, oh man, I like that dude. And I was thinking, I bet if we lived near each other, we would be friends. And then your cat jumped up and I was like, no, we're good. The distance is okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I used to do a bit about this, but it was based on a true story. This lady moved into our neighborhood and I went over to introduce myself. And honestly, the first thing she said to me, because I'm not like everybody else that lives in the neighborhood. I'm a little, I don't like dress as nice and stuff. And when I knocked on the door, she goes, I've already got a lawn man. That was her first thing.
No.
And so,
wow.
Yeah. So I tried to introduce myself and stuff. And she wanted to introduce me to, she said someone, and she took me inside and she just moved in. So I was trying to be nice. And she showed me her cat. And I am not a cat fan at all. My friend John Branyan, who's a comedian, he's got a great bit that sometimes, that cats are important because, sometimes you have a bad day and you come home and you don't want to kick the dog. So
right.
I kind of feel like that.
Oh,
But she took me into the living room and I've never seen a cat this big. And I was trying to be nice, but I'm also, you guys know me. I like my brain's just always like firing. And she was like, there she is. And I was like, is she behind the fuzzy chair? And I got mad. And she was like, she goes, no, she's big bone. And I was like, she looks like she ate a big bone. And
right.
We have not talked since then. So it was,
so like a good neighbor, you're staying at home, right?
Right.
yeah. I because I put that on one of my comedy specials, that whole story, and I keep wanting to send it to her or just ask if she's seen it.
Right.
But,
Hey,
things have
by the
died
way, I
down,
made
so
you
good.
famous, just so you know. And
Yeah.
Man, I gave you a shout out.
right. Welcome to it. Mr. Smiley, thank you so much for taking time to hang out with us. Now you've been you've actually been kind of chilling lately, right? You've taken a break.
Yeah, I've been off for 2 weeks. My wife is currently on the phone trying to book shows everywhere to get me out of the house.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
found
she was like, "What, a junior high lock-in? He's there. He loves those." Like,
it's a 3-week retreat. I've got him. He's ready to go. Don't worry. We'll have to pay. That's fine. Not a problem.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
get it scheduled. So you've been before this, so you were doing you were kind of like everywhere. I mean, you do a lot of you do a lot of events, corporate events and stuff like that, but you've done several churches and some clubs lately, correct?
Yeah. December was pretty insane. I think I had 16 shows in December, and they were all crammed in. Like, I remember December 1st through the 11th, I had 9 shows in that run. Yeah, it was insane. But my kids enjoyed their Christmas gifts, so
Yep.
it was worth it.
Now speaking of kids, and we kind of talked about this before the show. You have 5 sons, correct?
I have 5 kids, yes, and boys. So it is a loud and probably should be condemned house, but it's a very fun house. We're not the boring house in the neighborhood.
And what are the age ranges? Just
so, so 2 of them have been out. One of them is 23, so he's been out for a while. He still comes back a lot. He created Yeah, he created a character called Laundry Claus, where he walks in with a big bag, and it looks like it's going to be gifts, and it's his laundry. And and then my next son Trent, he went to A&M 2 years ago,
Right.
and is doing really well out there. And then this last year, my third son Xander, because you got a Xander, right?
I have. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have thought to ask this, but that's a kid, right? Not another cat.
No, that is a kid. It's an actual human. Yeah. Yeah.
It came
No,
before
made. Yeah. Made
Okay.
the traditional way and everything. Yeah.
Okay.
Homebrewed.
Yeah, let's don't get into that. I don't need to
Yeah,
know.
no.
Yeah. By the way, you guys asked me to do this, and I was like, yeah, I haven't seen you guys in a long time, and I'm supposed to be doing my taxes. And I thought this will be a good break. Like, it'll be good, it'll be fun. And then I started listening to your 9 random things, and I started doing my taxes again.
Yeah.
Right.
Just for the fun
We
of it.
actually did our taxes while that was going on too.
Right.
It,
Yeah.
it showed. It showed.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, what
The
were we
crack
talking about?
team of writers is a write-off, so
Yeah.
we're supporting the homeless that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what were we talking about? It was going to change your life. I remember I had something. Anyway, it's gone. Oh, well.
Well, we were talking about your boys, and
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So Xander, he graduated last year. So he's at A&M. He's actually rooming with his brother. So
Nice.
we're down to 2 kids, but we also took on a 3rd kid because I guess we had too much money. And but this kid is a senior, and he needed a place to stay, and so he's living with. So we actually have 3 kids in the house and 3 out, but the 3 that are out are here quite a bit.
Right, always stopping in. By the way, I have laundry and I need food and gas money.
Yeah.
And yeah. No, I get that. And all boys, good Lord, your wife must either be on Xanax or very, 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 very patient woman.
Yeah, I haven't seen her in a couple of months, so I don't know.
She's out booking shows for you, Bob.
She's out booking shows for me. No, yeah, she's amazing. She's very patient, and she works with learning disability kids at a private school here, and so she's like, she doesn't get a break. Even when she goes to work, she doesn't get a break from kids and stuff. And she just the patience of Job is I mean, I think I'm only halfway through Job, so no spoilers, but right now it looks like she's got the patience of Job.
Yeah, well, and you're married to her, so she really.
So there is some blessings. That's what you're saying. Yeah, I appreciate
pretty
that.
much. Yeah, I was gonna say you break up the I just figured maybe the learning disability was the code for being married with you, but that's
I am not afraid to admit that I am better at math now. So I'm just saying there are a lot of perks.
You keep adding kids in. It's supposed to be moving them out.
I know. When our 3rd one graduated, I was like, yeah. And my wife was like, hey, you know how we said we wanted God to use us? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, well, he's presented us another option to be used by him. So we're doing it. But I'm definitely crossing off days on the calendar.
Now, with all these boys, there's a lot of testosterone in the house. Now, is there a lot of I mean, obviously you like us, our Star Wars, you like a lot of the sci-fi comics and stuff. Are a lot of your boys into all that? Yeah, dude, I'm so jealous of that Han Solo picture.
Yeah.
Are they fairly nerdy like that, or they have are they all kind of their own different personalities?
So we're a blended family. So which is great because people always, when they hear that, they're like, oh, you're a blended family. I bet it's like the Brady Bunch. And I'm like, it's like the first 15 minutes of Saving Private Ryan. It's with a lot more cussing. No, it's so Yeah, but so I've been married to Sarah for just a little over 5 years and 1 month, and she has two boys that are younger than my three boys. So when they moved in, they grew up like completely different with different movies and different all this stuff. And for a long time, it was just me and my three boys. I was just a single dad, and so we watched tons of movies. So my boys are all into the old comic, real funny movies, Airplane and,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Blazing
Yeah.
Saddles, all the Mel Brooks stuff and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't realize this until she and her two boys moved in. But me and my three boys, we talk in movie quotes all the time. And
Yeah.
I didn't realize it until they moved in, and finally my oldest bonus son was like, I am lost. Like, am I supposed to be following this? And I was like, no, when somebody says, do you have a dime? Somebody's got to go back for a huge amount of dimes. Like we're
Right.
quoting Blazing Saddles. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah. So to answer your question, they're all kind of catching up. My two youngest bonus kids, they're really into Marvel. And so it was a quick, easy step over into the DC world, which is where my boys and I, preside. And so, I would say they all
Everybody
are
has their
kind of,
faults.
what's that?
I said everybody has their faults.
Everybody has their little faults. And, I'm called to love on them and just try to help them through their sin. So.
Which would be the
That's what I do.
DC, but no, it's fine.
Oh, you anti-DC?
He is.
Not really.
Yeah. No, he
Okay.
absolutely is.
Different topic. How do I close this out?
Right.
There's
See?
a little button right next to Andy.
Rob's got this right.
No, I enjoy some DC. I mean, I actually grew up on DC, but then I got exposed to Marvel and really fell in love. I mean, back in the early days with Iron Man and Spider-Man and Silver Surfer. But of course, Silver Surfer was after I discovered marijuana and other things. But yeah,
so you were building a testimony and a lot of other bad habits.
Yeah, pretty much
diving into to Marvel. Now here's the deal: Marvel is far superior movies. Like they just put out great movies. So it used to be a great argument, but now I'm like, I can't really argue with people because I mean Marvel definitely knows what they're doing.
Well, yeah, you get the money of
DC,
Disney backing them, and
DC puts out better animated shows. They put out better TV. So there's a balance in the superhero world in terms of everything.
And although me and Andy argue over who's better, Iron Man or Batman, I still very much enjoy The Dark Knight. I'm just more of a Iron Man's going to save the world far better than Batman will. So,
and you're just wrong, and you have to deal with that, Christian.
Yeah, I do like that there's like lots of different Batman, like different storylines and different people that have so you can find a Batman that you really like. Iron Man's kind of Iron Man, so you're either in it or you're not. But so yeah, I mean, I guess we can just say that you're wrong. I think where we landed on that.
I agree. I 100% with you, Bob.
But now, okay, we found this amazing because before the show we were doing our chat, and you are serious when you say you have never seen an episode of Star Trek.
I've never seen an episode of Star Trek.
Original, none of them.
But the story behind it is great.
Yeah. Okay. So my girlfriend walked into, and I know there's a lot of people saying, yeah, this is a made up story already, but I did have a girlfriend and,
he is married.
I am married. Yeah. So I've at least met two people. So she walked into, the room, and I've always talked in movie quotes, and this girl that I was dating, she did that as well. In fact, remind me to tell you, I'll tell you a funny story about a movie quote that I didn't get in a second, but she walked in and she said some Star Trek quote, and she really was saying it for me, but people in the living room, like they all laughed, and I was like lost. And she was like, from Star Trek. And I was like, oh, I've never seen it. And she flipped out. She couldn't believe. She's like, wait a minute, you've never seen? And she went through all the, I guess, whatever it was, all the TV shows, the movies, all that stuff. And I was like, no. And then I realized like it bothered her so much that I was like, I am never, ever going to watch a Star Trek show or movie or anything. So it just kind of became a fun thing to keep going. The closest I came was one of the Star Trek movies was out. And when I was on the road, I don't do this anymore, but I used to just go and buy a ticket to the movies if I had lots of time to kill. And I would go in and watch a movie, and then I would walk out, and I paid for that movie. But sometimes I'd get distracted leaving the theater, and I would accidentally go into another theater 3 different times that day.
Distracted?
And
yeah.
I'm not good with directions. And so I actually walked into a movie. I didn't even look to see what movie it was. And I walked in, and they were walking somebody by on some like space like thing, and he looked like he was dead and everything. And I realized like, oh, it's Star Trek. And so I immediately left the theater. So that's the closest. I've seen one clip.
Wow. That's
let me
incredible.
Tell you, let me tell you this story. So this girl that I was dating, we dated for a while, for a pretty long time. And then we were like fire and ice. Like we would fight a lot and stuff. And so we broke up several times throughout us dating. And the last time that we broke up, we were in my duplex. I shared a duplex with 3 other guys. And she was in the living room, and she was like, fine, I don't need you. I don't need you at all. All I need is my self-respect and this TV remote. That's all I need. And I was like, okay. And she goes, all I need is this TV remote, and I want that blanket and this TV remote and my self-respect. And she backed out of my duplex, and she took about 4 or 5 things of mine. And I just let her because I thought, oh, she's lost it. And she left. Do you guys know what that's from?
The Jerk.
No. Oh, The Jerk. That's right.
So
that's right.
I had never seen. Okay, I had never seen The Jerk because I'm a Christian. Oh. You have, obviously. So
well, I'm a Christian.
When I went to Nashville and I started being a stand-up, I was single, and I was living in this really bad apartment, and I couldn't afford to, buy movies or anything, but I had a little TV VCR combination, and I would go to the library, and I would get movies for free on VHS. And so The Jerk was there, and I was like, you know what? I am 22 years old. I am old enough to see this movie. So
it's time.
Yeah. I had one of my friends check it out in case my parents were still checking to see what I was renting.
Yeah.
But I had my friend Rick check it out for me. And so I took it home and I put on The Jerk. And when I got to the scene where he was leaving and he took all the stuff, I was like, oh my goodness. Like all of a sudden it was like,
all right.
And so then when Facebook came out and I reconnected with her, I was like, I got to tell you, that was the longest like joke. Like, did you know that I didn't? And she was like, I realized after I took the blanket that you didn't know what I was doing, but I was already committed to the role. And so she ended up taking like 4 or 5 things out of my apartment.
Oh man.
So far into the bit that you just can't quit, and you're just like,
yeah, she was like, I'm committed. I'm doing this. And she even said, like, I had hoped that later on you would see it. And she said that she actually was doing that because she thought I would laugh, because we were in a heated argument, and she thought that I would laugh and be like, oh, okay. But then when I didn't, she was like, okay, well, I'm too far into this. And so she started taking stuff.
Just got to keep going.
Like you can't explain it at that point. Like at that point, you literally got to cut your losses and go. And like, maybe he'll call later, maybe he won't.
Yeah.
But if that's
maybe somebody will invent Facebook, and 8 years later, Yeah.
He'll be this guy. He's gonna put this whole we'll call it social media thing together, and
Right.
we'll,
That's
we'll
incredible,
make-
though. Well, we all have that one thing that everyone else has seen that we just haven't seen, you know,
Yeah.
and it gets with, and I hate to admit this, but with me, it's The Godfather. I haven't seen any of those movies.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And I get that reaction all the time. Like everybody's like, oh, wow, you're missing.
And he just got whacked. So
Yeah. Wow.
Just mentioning it.
it's just
Take it out.
it takes you right out.
Not messing with it.
Oh,
Not messing with it.
hey,
The last time I mentioned it.
if you're listening to us here on the podcast version of this, we got Bob Smiley, comedian extraordinaire, inventor of and creator of Average Boy, Rabbit Boy. I don't know where I was going with that. And we've been talking all sorts about family and our nerdiness of movies and stuff. Now, okay, Bob, and on you know, obviously you're a Christian comedian. I don't know if you don't like using that moniker. Or, I know people who are clean comics are like, don't call me a clean comic, just call me a comic. Which really, that's all you are. You're just a great comedian. I love watching your work. Now, but as a Christian, have you been a Christian since youth, or did you grow up in the Christian or?
Yeah. I grew up. It's weird because most comedians are like tormented souls, and they had terrible childhoods and all this. I remember one time we were at this conference for comedians, and me and my buddy Tim Hawkins were sitting at a table together, and these other two comedians that are very, very famous comedians were up sharing their testimony, and they were talking about their addictions to alcohol and drugs, and how terrible their childhoods were. And they were just like really talking about all the, just terrible things. And Hawkins turned to me and he was like, do you just do comedy because you like making people laugh and it pays the bills? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, okay, good. I just want to make sure I was the only one that wasn't just totally messed up. But yeah, I grew up, I had a great childhood. My parents are Christians, my grandparents on both sides. I was fortunate to know my great grandparents for quite a long time. They were all believers, all different denominations. And so I was exposed. My parents did a great job of not, because I was a very strong-willed child. So my parents did a great job of not, like, they had me go to church, but they didn't have me wake up every morning and do a Bible study, or they weren't forcing it down my throat. They basically presented it like, this is what we believe. And, we want you to look into this. Like, we believe there's a creator that's undeniable. We believe that there's, a savior that loves us. And so because I respected my parents so much, it really worked well, because then I started looking into it at a pretty early age, started reading the Bible and looking into it. So yeah, I've been a Christian pretty much all my life, or been exposed to Christianity before I could make my own decision.
Right. Okay. And now this is one of the things I'm leading up to here, because I kind of grew up Christian. My grandparents on my mom's side, strong Baptist, and my mom was very Christian based, and then she actually grew out of it as we were growing older. I found my way into I couldn't accept it. And so I said, well, I'm going to study philosophies. I'm going to figure it out for myself. And, obviously I've come back to the realization that there is only one God. But I'm more non-denominational. I like the practice of reading the Bible and, going off God's law through that. But now the way you were talking about how your parents, I like the way that you were talking about that. They didn't like say, yeah, you're going to do this and you're doing a devotional every day and whatnot. But now, did they made you go to church, correct?
Yeah, we went to church. Yeah, and we went Sunday morning, Sunday evening, and Wednesday night. And I was heavily involved in the youth group. So they did have requirements of like, this is how we're raising you. This is what we know to be true, and so we're going to raise you. Hopefully, you take this information, and it will help guide and protect your life as you get out on your own. But they did a really great job of not like forcing it down my throat, but presenting it as, hey, this is going to be good for you. This is going to, and because I respected them so much, I really, like I said, I started reading the Bible really early, because I was like, okay, if these two people that I love and respect, if they found this to be the truth, I want to look into this and find out, find the truth for myself.
Now, have you done the same thing with your boys?
Yes. Yeah. We, well, again, we're a blended family. So there was a period of time where, when I was the single dad, I was really panicked that my kids would, because my wife is now married to a very wealthy dude that my ex-wife, that we hung out with all the time, and he was from our church. And there was several people at the church, influential people that back them. I don't know why. I think it had to do with 10% somehow. But there were several people that were like, oh, this, well, everybody makes mistakes and that kind of thing. Yeah. And so it did kind of ruin my kids because they had looked up to these people. So the reason why I tell you all that is, I did start doing like a morning Bible study before, they would head off to school and stuff. So I got a little more aggressive during that time, just because I was kind of panicking as a single, father and stuff. And my kid that's Xander, that's in A&M, like, he's going to Bible study. I actually just talked to him last night, and I do the Bible, read through the Bible in a year, every single year. And I change it up. Like, I'm doing the chronological order this year. But he just said on the phone last night, he was like, hey, I think I'm going to start doing the Bible in a year. I know I'm, like little late to start in January. And I was like, no, do it. So he's really good. My two oldest kids, who were kind of a little more older, and they could see, what was going on during that whole bad time and stuff like that, they have a lot of questions. Same questions that a lot of people have of like, if there's a loving God, then how can, how can two people destroy two families like this? And, like a lot of that kind of stuff. So they're kind of struggling back and forth, but they've got that foundation, and like, we're constantly talking about God, and, so it's, I had set out to raise my kids the exact same way that my parents raised me. We hit a huge speed bump, in the middle of the kids' lives, but I feel like we're kind of still on track.
Nice. No,
incredible.
And I asked that. I mean, I've been trying to raise my two younger daughters. Well, they're not super young; they're 15 and 16. But I've been trying to raise them into it, and I'm getting me as a 15 and 16-year-old back from them. So, it's very interesting, and I don't have a lot. Again, my mom fell out. She's, so I'm just, thank God my wife is like a rock. She grew up very strong, Christian based, and is a great resource for me to rely on. So and this is especially nowadays, I think, as parents, we've really let so much get away from us, especially with our kids, and I'm trying to not be the over parent. And it's very interesting, which is one of the things I think is great about what you've done with the Average Boys series.
Before we talk about that, though, I want to say something that I do think is important. Every kid is going to be different, in your parenting style. And so if you're trying something and it's not working, and you're a parent, man, don't beat yourself up. just try a different approach, try something different. My oldest bonus kid, Dylan, he's one of those kids that if he can get in trouble, he's going to get in trouble. But he has a heart for the Lord, and like just loves, like goes to church and really gets into. This Sunday he texted us, because our Sarah and I's Sunday school class is when the our kids are in the worship service, and so he actually texted us saying, "Man, we're in Ephesians, and this sermon's so good." And like he's not one of those ones that you want to wake up and say, "All right, we're doing a Bible study every single morning." He's a very strong-willed child, and he's discovered the truth on his own. And so we're approaching him differently than we are our youngest son, or even my 3 older boys. So Dylan is one of those kids that needed to find his own relationship with Jesus, and he's done that without us forcing it. So every parent is, or every kid is different. So your parenting styles will have to change. I just don't want parents like beating themselves up going, "Well, I'm trying what you're talking about and it's not working." Well, yeah, you may have one of those kids that needs a different approach. But the average boy thing. So I've written 2 comedy devotion books for middle school kids. And then the third book is just a fiction book. It's kind of like Diary of a Wimpy Kid, but way better. And so it's just, there's no fact checkers on here, are there?
Right. No.
But I wanted to give parents, something that they could give their kids to, first of all, make their kids laugh and get them to actually open a book and actually read a book. And then second of all, I wanted to try to find ways to get biblical truth into kids' lives, because another thing, and I know you're probably struggling with this as well as every parent out there, the world is competing for our kids' attention. They want to have their, attention, their finances. The world is trying to grab, and, they can get to our kids through anything, through the phone, through the internet, and so we really do have to kind of be on them. So when I started writing the Average Boy series, it was just a monthly article in Clubhouse magazine, which is a magazine for middle school kids. And then it started getting a lot of, like fan mail, I guess you'd call it, from kids that were reading it. And so we did the books. So we did the first 2 as devotion books. The third one still has a lot of moral, like, encouragement and stuff in it. Like the third one, that's just a fiction book. He goes to a new school. He has to deal with some bullies and stuff like that. And he's real active in his youth group. So there's a lot of funny stories, but he's basically always trying to do the good thing in life. So I try to write these books to give parents an additional tool to help keep their kids, focused on the right things. And so I do get to talk to a lot of parents after my shows. They'll come up, and we started an Average Boy podcast. So it's a short podcast. It's a funny story. I do the voice of Average Boy. And so it's for parents to listen to with their kids. So they hear these funny stories, but there's always some kind of biblical takeaway. So we did it. So like if you're on your way to the grocery store or something, it's short, but it's just a fun thing to listen to with your kids. And so I get a lot of parents coming up afterwards, and we get to talking about different, styles and ways to raise kids and stuff. And that's really kind of what opened up my mind of, man, every kid is different. So you've got to, find what works for them.
Yeah, no. And that's the thing I really like. Now you're also saying, and good afternoon, Corey Hall. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, what's up, Corey? I know Corey.
Yeah, no, Corey's the best. There he is. Gentleman. Oh, he was just talking to you, Bob, is what he's saying.
Right. Yeah, I know Corey. And yeah, his spell check is not great.
Well, it's Corey. It's understandable. We totally.
His name actually starts with a K. Like that's even misspelled on Facebook. Like it's just not good.
No, it really isn't. See, he's trying to be street, and Corey, it doesn't work. It's all right, man. We understand, brother. So you're actually suggesting that that parents read these books too, right? So they can kind of relate a little bit better with their kids.
Yeah, the first two books, they're called Devotions for Super Average Kids, books 1 and 2. I wrote it for kids to do it, and at the end of each chapter, there's questions, because there's always a funny story, but there's always something that average boy is dealing with. So like peer pressure, picking the right friends, why you have to guard your eyes from everything the world's throwing at you, why it's important to obey your parents, stuff like that. So I wrote the books for kids, but when the first one came out, I started getting feedback that parents were reading it with their kids, as a nighttime, hey, let's go to sleep, but let's read, one chapter of The Average Boy. And then there's the devotion questions at the end for kids to fill out and stuff. And there's like also silly activities and stuff, but we really kind of stumbled on the fact that parents were doing it with their kids. So I set out to make it just for the kids, but we've discovered that, parents really do like to do it like with their kids, and, and get involved with the questions and stuff. And,
but that's what we need more of, especially in the teen years. We need parents being involved instead of just, okay, yeah, you're on your phone, whatever, blah, blah, blah. No, let's be a little more focused. You don't have to be overbearing and riding over their shoulders or anything, but just be involved a little bit. You want to hear
the worst like thing that I've seen at this house. When my
five boys, and this could be bad.
I've got a photo. If I'm just kidding. They
so do the police.
So, yeah. Actually, legally, I'm not supposed to talk about it. So never mind.
Okay.
No.
There you go.
So we live on the inside of a corner lot, and so when you pull into our neighborhood, our house is the first one. So we have a big yard that kind of expands. So when my three boys were younger, my rule was all the kids would get off the bus and they had to go check in with their parents, but then everybody would come over to our yard and we would play, wiffle ball or football or something. And we were playing football one day, and the kid who lived right across the street, his dad pulled in and got out, and his kid was in our yard, and he yelled, "Hey, dad, come play football with us. Come play football with us." And he just looked up, and then he just walked into the house and just didn't even respond, just ignored his kid. And I was like, I wanted to grab that dad and be like, do you realize you don't have that many years left of your kids seeing you get home and want you to be involved? And so parents need to get involved. And even when their kids don't want you involved, you've got to be involved. But especially when they're at that age where they want you involved, you got to take advantage of that. That's crucial time.
Yep. No, my kids stayed, my two younger daughters stayed very young for a long time. So after I got divorced, I'd be like, let's go to the park. Let's go to the park. And I'd go and, be on the swings and stuff with them for a little while. And then I just let them run with the other kids. But that was one of my ways of trying to be involved, and we'd read a little bit or something like that. And I introduced them to, the Three Stooges. I tried to instill in them some of the basics of modern, you need to know this. They've seen The Jerk. They've seen Airplane now. And this was another thing I wanted to ask you. Now, where do you draw the line on the movies? Because you were questioning yourself about, should I see The Jerk? The Jerk, especially by nowadays terms.
So that's a great question. Because all these movies that I loved, like Airplane's got a bad scene in it. One of my favorite movies is Top Secret, and they have
classic.
They have two scenes that, for me, because Top Secret, the jokes per minute is so high. If they would have taken out these two scenes that I felt like they didn't really need for comedic value, it didn't change the plot or anything. if they would have taken those out, it would have been a great movie. And I could tell everybody constantly, go see Top Secret. But I was doing a fundraiser show, and there was a DVD player called ClearPlay. And ClearPlay had this thing where, and I'm sure it was illegal, or maybe they just didn't have laws back then that protected, but they basically would edit any movie. So it had a little thumb drive, and you would download their edit and put it in. Now you still had to have the DVD to play, but you would put the DVD in, and it would play the movie, and it would cut out, and you could set what you wanted to cut it out. So you could cut out any sexual scenes. You could cut out cussing. If you weren't Baptist, you would cut out the drinking stuff. And so you can actually set what level. And so I got that ClearPlay DVD. And so that's how all my kids saw all these movies, because I could show them, Airplane, and it would cut out the scene of the girl running across the screen, and like things like that. So, but it also kind of backfired, because my oldest son, he was in 4th grade, and he turned in his test quick. Like my oldest son, very snarky. So he walked up to the teacher, and he was like, "Your answer key," as he handed his test in. And the teacher goes, and you guys are going to know where this is going, but the teacher looked at Coulter, and he was like, "Surely you're not done." And he goes, "I am done. And don't call me Shirley." Yeah. And the teacher was so impressed. He was like, "Wait a minute. Have you seen Airplane?" And Coulter was like, "Yeah, it's my favorite movie." Well, he came home and told me that. And I was like, "Coulter,
you're getting called."
Yeah, I know. Immediate. You're just like, "Oh no."
You got to tell your teacher.
Must think of me.
Yeah. Like, no, we have ClearPlay. It cuts out all the bad stuff. So, so we did that. So that's actually how I kind of skirted around the issue of seeing all this thing. And we just raised our kids to know, like, it is important to guard your eyes and your heart, and not be constantly exposed to all the bad things that the world wants to draw you away from, from goodness. And then as they get older, they can actually see some of that stuff, because their brains are a little more developed, and they can, they know that it's not right. It's still not good to just, all of a sudden let everything in. But, I waited for my kids to see Blazing Saddles until they could actually get the whole message behind Blazing Saddles, that they would realize, oh, these people are like, they're making fun of like how absurd it is to be racist.
Right.
And so I waited until my kids were old enough to get that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's important. It's important. And just the way that you say it, is that, they need to reach a certain level to get that barometer to be able to process what they're seeing, and not just see it and say, "Oh, okay, well, that's what I saw." That's incredible. That again, that much thought, you were there enough, especially with 5 kids, to have that much thought going into it. Because I mean, there's some people overwhelmed with just one kid, that don't necessarily have the ability to step away and say, "Okay, well, what am I showing my kid right now?"
Right.
Yeah. It's work, but that's your job. Like, your job is you're a parent, and it is hard work, and it is exhausting. Right before we went on the show, my wife came in and just laid down in my office for a second. She just got home from work, and she was like, "I'm exhausted," but she's going to get up and she's going to go, help Mason with his homework and stuff. Like, it's our job. So we need to show up every day and do our job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. And now, before we jump back into Average Boy, because you've got some news about Average Boy here. That I want to get into. But now, all these, the Marvel, the DC, all these movies that have been coming out, even the newer Star Wars have been very questionable in their content. Now, do you take them to the theater to watch them, or do you wait? And I mean, well, and obviously you got the older boys who they know the right from wrong, so they can, okay, yeah, there's a bad word here or whatever, questionable character, then they know the difference. But with some of your younger kids, what do you do in that point? Do you just hold off and then you do your clear play thing, or do you just kind of explain it as it's happening? How do you handle those kinds of situations?
Well, we don't have the clear play thing anymore. We don't like. It was a DVD player, and we're
Right.
not Amish, so we don't have DVDs now anymore. And the clear play, I don't know what happened, but they just kind of disappeared. So I don't know if they're still out there doing something, but we don't have that. I'll be honest, though, this is going to be kind of like very soapboxy, but the agenda that Disney and everybody else has right now, we just don't watch anything. We watch the old stuff. We watch. So I am a huge Star Wars fan. If you want to talk to me about the last 3 or 4 movies that have come out, I haven't even seen them. I saw, I'm trying to think what the last Star Wars that I even saw, but I really do feel like Disney has an agenda, and I do feel like they also have ruined the storylines of several things. So we don't go see any of this new stuff. All the things I'm in, Star Wars and Batman and, all that. Now I will go see the Batman, the Robert Pattinson. I went and saw opening day, and then went back with my kids and we saw it 2 more times. But we, so I do preview stuff before we go and see it. And then if anything even just remotely looks like it has some agenda that they're pushing that's, that doesn't line up with the Bible, there's so much stuff that we can watch that from, from my generation. And there's just so many good things that have already been made that are already out there, that we can watch. So you talk about being a diehard fan of something. It is weird to know, like, oh, there's a new Star Wars movie being worked on, and I don't care. What I'll find is if they do put out something really good, I'm going to hear about it, and then we can always watch it later.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at. Those last Star Wars, the New Hope or whatever it was, I literally was watching them. I waited for them. I didn't pay them to go see them on TV at the theaters. I saw them on TV, and I was just like, yeah. And literally, I would just pause the movie or turn it off, come back to it later. Still, no, I'm not. It's so overplayed and so overdone at this point. It's not even worth it. I love the dream of the first and the whole beginning series, and that's it. I was done with it, especially after the Ewoks. I was like, okay, that's enough.
I did go see the one, and again, this is how out of it I am, but I did go see the one, and it maybe had been the last one, but I saw the one with Han Solo and Chewbacca where they came back. When they brought them back.
Yeah, The Force Awakens. That was
The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Okay. So I did go to the theater to see that, just to watch Han Solo and Chewbacca walk into the Millennium Falcon. Like, just like from that.
Because it's Han Solo with Chewie.
Yeah, because which even as a kid, like all my friends love Luke Skywalker, and even when I was a kid, I was like, I think I'm more of a Han Solo guy. Like, I think that's who I'm gonna end up being more like.
Well, Han got the chicks. Hello.
He got the chicks. He could always find a way to make things work, and I like that. That's my life. Like, I have always figured out how it doesn't always look great, and I may have to, bang on the top to jump to light speed, but I'm eventually going to to come out victorious.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm putting the we're nerds
Well,
thing back up again.
Yeah, and you have, and Han always had the best lines, right?
Oh,
And he
yeah.
would.
So okay, so let's talk about spoiler.
Okay.
But can we like spoil this movie? So
Yeah.
Han gets killed. Like,
No.
right. So you had time. You had your time.
I know.
So when he fell, I thought the greatest like thing that they could do was they would go and get him, just like they rescued Luke and restored his hand. They
Right.
could build him into part robot and part Han Solo. And I thought, how great would it be to follow him around where like his robot leg just quit working all the time. And he was constantly having to rig it to fix it, like a very Han Solo like characteristic. I was like, I would pay just to watch a whole movie of him doing that, like wanting to shoot first, but he couldn't get elbowed.
Right. Yeah. The gun's now stuck in his robotic leg and he can't pull it. That'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh wow. That would be an amazing series to
That's what I would have done.
A mini series or something. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Oh goodness gracious. All right. Now we're done nerding now. Let's get back. I want to know Average Boy, it's done so well. I mean, you've been selling out on Amazon.
The third book, it was so funny because I mean the other two, the devotion books sold really well, but the third one was our first. It's just a fiction book. Again, a lot of moral, encouragement and stuff throughout, but it's just a fiction book, and it's about his whole year. Like I said, going to a new school, and we didn't know how it was going to do, and it came out on Amazon, and it sold out the first month. So I had this new book and I couldn't even get copies to sell at my show so it came out in, I think, October, and I couldn't get copies of it until January because it had like sold so well, which was great. So they normally give me 6 months to write an Average Boy book. And so the third book did so well, and the Average Boy podcast was doing so well, they immediately gave me a fourth book deal, and they only gave me 3 months to write this book, which I wrote over the summer. And so it's funny because normally I will sit in this office here and I write the book in this office. It's where I write. But because I had so many shows, this fourth book that's coming out has been written in Alaska and Ohio and Indiana and Mississippi. Like it's been written all over the states and stuff. But here's the other deal. So me and Jesse, who's my editor, we rushed to get this book done, and I think it's my best work. This is kind of off. I guess I can say this, but Focus on the Family is an amazing organization. But they also are very, very strict on what they let you write about. So that's why Jesse is the best editor in the world, because he, constantly will email me back and go, look, you can't say booger, in chapter 3. You can't but because the third book did so well, they kind of took the handcuffs off and was like, okay, you just write whatever you think is funny. So the fourth one, I think is my best work that I've ever done, as far as the Average Boy series. But because, and it started with COVID that put everything on, back order and all this stuff. And Tyndale is the actual publishing company, because Tyndale is so big and has this. So it's not going to come out until this coming summer, I think, is the release date. So they had me write this book in 3 months, and we delivered it. We were like, yeah, will we have it by Christmas? And they were like, oh, no, it's going to come out, after you're dead and gone.
Right. Yeah.
We'll let you know how it did, but
26 right now.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So, but this summer, the fourth Average Boy book will be out.
Wow. Right on.
Man,
right
that's
on.
Great.
And now you're continuing the podcast. Is that
Yeah,
still...
we do the Average Boy podcast. We actually recorded a couple of days ago. And I think we did 88 and 89. So we're coming up on 100 episodes.
Nice.
Oh wow,
Nice.
that's incredible.
And now if people want to find that, they can go to the focusonthefamily.com.
Yeah, you can actually go. You can go to the Focus link, or you can go to averageboy.org.
Oh,
You don't want to go to averageboy.com. Do not go there. That's a whole different website. But averageboy.org is
that would be
the link.
Yeah, that's probably not the one you want to go to.
Yeah.
Well, we should continue another podcast. Just a friend.
my wife and I used to do a podcast called Hook, Line, and Smiley, and it was great. We put it out every week. We did I think we did 70 or 80 episodes, and
Oh wow.
Wow.
it was awesome. But then we decided to stop it so that we could stay married. And,
Kind of important.
it was very selfish. It was so selfish on our part.
Really? Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now it's still out there, so if people want to go and check it out, they can go do that, correct?
Yeah. We kept it up so people can still. But I do get people after my shows and stuff are constantly like, "You guys should do it." And again, my wife works so hard up at school, and she's really doing great things for these children, and she's like a really active, good mom. So it really was taking a toll on us to sit down every single week, do a podcast, edit it, and try to get it out. So yeah, we needed to let some things go, and that was one of the things we had to let go in our hectic lives.
Right. Now, all right. Now, all these, the former Average Boy books, they can still be gotten off Amazon, or are they?
Yeah.
Okay, so they are reprinting them, and they're because you said it's
Yeah.
sold out so fast, and
Well, the third book, which was called Average Boys Above Average Year, it sold out on Amazon the first month that it released, but they've now caught up. So I think it's in the second printing. But the other two books, the devotion books, which are still comedy books, but they, like I said, have devotion questions. Those are all three of those are on Amazon, and they have, they definitely have plenty of them. I think the first one just went into its fourth printing.
oh, nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
which
wow.
is really cool for a children's lit book is pretty nice.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, and then the fourth one you said summerish, somewhere around.
Yeah, we're really pushing for June. They're telling us it may be later than that, but we're gonna see. We've gotten everything in, and we've really tried to speed everything up so there's no hiccups. But yeah, we're hoping June.
Now, just throwing this out there, animated series.
Several people have approached us with that, and it really comes down to two things: time and money.
Right.
So
the two biggest things.
Two biggest things. So those, so time, I would have to, because I don't want to hand Average Boy off to anybody. I want to be the writer, and my editor Jesse totally agrees with me. He's like, no, Bob is Average Boy. He owns Average Boy. It doesn't need to be. So I would have to write the screenplays for the animated series, and Focus on the Family would have to open up their wallet and put money behind it. This might be a scoop, but we've talked about it for years, but with the success of the podcast and the third book, we're kind of getting close to maybe sitting down and having a serious discussion about doing an animated, series thing like that. So it may be in the works.
Mm-hmm. That gets a DJ air horn right there. Now, and just curious about the podcast, because I have not heard it yet. I want to, but
You're no fan. Come on.
No, I seriously, I have such little time. And I mean, I have a hard enough time just trying to get into my Bible, and which is a horrible thing to say. I know. So don't judge me. But explain the podcast a little bit. Is it like a story, like a verbal dialogue story that goes along, or is it an actual kind of podcast like this with Average Boy?
No, it's good. So it's not like this one at all. We
Yes.
I love that I know you guys well enough. I can do stuff like that.
Even if you didn't, we'd still enjoy it. So.
Yeah, that's true. So it basically, I do the voice of Average Boy, and normally my voice does sound like a junior high kid. I'm getting over a cold. So, in fact, the first time we recorded and we were going to do, and I was ready to do the voice of Average Boy, and it was the first, episode, and I raised my voice up a little higher to make it more middle schoolish. And the producer was like, Bob, you can just use your own voice. And I was like, no, he's supposed to be a middle school kid. And he goes, yeah, you're good. Go ahead.
You're fine.
Yeah. So I write the script. I send it to Jesse, who's my editor. He goes over and makes sure, I don't say booger, and, so it's focused on the family. I can't tell you how many times he has reminded me that I can't put booger in there, but so I write the script, he reviews it, signs off on it, and then we record it. We still ad lib a little bit, but I do the voice of Average Boy, and then Jesse is the adult on the podcast. So it's Average Boy, and then Jesse, the editor, focused on the family. And basically Average Boy is retelling a story that happened to him, usually like, last week. And it's a funny story, but it always has a kind of a biblical takeaway of, something that Average Boy would deal with as a middle school kid. So we try to write these funny stories, and, he'll have altercations with some kids at school, or he'll have a chance to cheat and, realize why it's important not to cheat at school, or, like things like that. So it's a funny story, and we try to keep it between 18 to 21 minutes. So it's short, but it's a funny story. And then there's, and then Jesse will come in and be like, oh, I know why you chose this, because of what it says in Ephesians. And, so we always try to have a scripture in there. And then we've got tons of running jokes and stuff. I started having Jesse tell really bad jokes. We called them Jesse jokes. And so
kind of like this show.
Yes.
Except funnier.
Only Jesse actually had punchlines. So he, but now kids will, because Jesse and I have done like the greater homeschool conventions last year. We went around and did those together, and we taught a class on how to put humor into devotions for families. And so many kids would come up afterwards and they wanted to hear Jesse jokes. And so there's a lot of like running gags and stuff like that for listeners that get involved and listen to them all. But that's what it is. And we put it out to, again, give parents something else extra to be able to do with their kids, and hopefully, keep them on the right track while, hopefully laughing a lot.
Well, and apparently the one drawback is right here, Corey Hall. I got my 7-year-old son to listen to Average Boy, and he loves it. Of course, there was some jokes about a wolf or coyote sound, and I had to listen to that for the next 3 days. So, Corey Hall, you're welcome from Bob. And
you want to know one of the best and worst comments I get at my shows all the time. Now that the Average Boy series has like kind of exploded, people come up to me and like, my kids love listening to you. I am so sick of your voice. I'm like, you don't have to add the second part.
Yeah, and yet you still came out to the show to listen to me talk.
Yeah. Still bought tickets. And
thank you so much.
That's like you coming back on this show. It's painful, but yet it's still.
Give me your phone number. I'll leave you a 10-minute message right now.
Right?
Yeah.
Let me know who annoys you the most. All right. So, well, and speaking of things that are amazing, how about this shirt?
Oh yeah, there we go.
Hey, there it is right there. This is from bobsmiley.com, right?
Yep. Bobsmiley.com should be your homepage.
Jesus, I never said that shirt, which again, people just absolutely love.
Yeah, I wear that shirt. I was telling you before we started this. I love wearing that shirt in the airport because people will look at it and be like, because it says I never said that, and they'll be like, what does that mean? And I'll be like, well, tell me some things that you think Jesus said, which is a great way because they're approaching me and now they're wanting to talk about Jesus. And I love the answers I get, especially people going through the airport of, things that Jesus like didn't say, separation of church and state, and like he who smelt it dealt it. Like that was not Jesus. Like,
wait, that is too. It's in Colossians.
It's Proverbs. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Proverbs. Yeah. All right. So, well, this shirt and you have several other forms of merchandise, which are very fun and entertaining. Right on your site, bobsmiley.com. Here's another shirt. It's got a lot of grins and laughs from people. Yes. The face.
I made a COVID shirt whenever COVID was, and it was funny though. So I made this COVID shirt and it sold like crazy, which was great because I was Uber Eats driving at the time to support my family during COVID. And so this shirt was selling like crazy. And then there was all of a sudden a change in the whole nation that they were sick of COVID. And that shirt stopped selling like on a Tuesday. And it was done.
Oh my God. They're just like, okay, no, done.
Yeah. We all agree. Yeah. No
It's
tampering with the votes. We're all voting.
All right. So now, when are you going back out on the road? When are you getting
February 2nd. I am out on the road, and February is pretty insane. But a whole like 4 days of it, I'm at this camp called Piney Woods in East Texas, doing kind of a retreat for other camp counselors and stuff. So I've got a ton of shows, but I kind of get a little break where I get to hang out. I've known the guys at Piney Woods forever, so that's good. But yeah, February is fairly insane.
Yeah. Now, are any shows where people might be able to find you? I mean, can they just go to bobsmiley.com, I'm assuming, and find out where?
Yeah, if they go to bobsmiley.com and click on my tour dates, all my shows are up and current because I'm a professional.
You mean your wife?
The cat.
Right. Yeah.
Cue the cat, right? Well, all right. So listen, we've got tour dates out there. Yes, it's happening. Don't worry, it's coming up. Yeah, we don't know where he is either, Bob. He just kind of starts yelling at us because apparently the man in the attic or inside my walls loves this part of the show where we have the random questions of insanity, where we ask you sorts. Yes, the random questions of insanity.
I know this is a live show, but I'm also just getting over a cold, so I'm going to blow my nose while you talk about tapioca. What is that in there?
Well, it looks like what's coming out of your nose right about now. And it doesn't taste the same as what's coming out of your nose right now, but it could be very
actually close. It does. That's weird. Okay, I'm back.
And we're back. All right. So random questions of insanity, just a series of questions that lets us know your psyche and inner dwellings inside the mind of Bob Smiley. There are no right or wrong answers except for a couple, but we already know the answer to one, so I'm not even going to bother with it. And other than that, it's just a lot of fun questions. And would you like to play? Well, that's too bad because you're gonna. And we start off with two base questions. The first one is, what is the best James Bond film?
Oh, that's a great question.
Let me guess, you've never seen a James Bond film?
No, I've seen them. I'm not a diehard James Bond fan.
Right.
So I would say Live and Let Die, Another Day Tomorrow is probably the best.
And again, there are no wrong answers. So yes, well played, sir. Well played. Let's see. Okay, now This is one of our favorites. What is your favorite sandwich and what all is on it? Tapioca?
Yeah, I love a Reuben sandwich, so I like sourdough bread, a little bit of coleslaw, some ham, 2 slices of turkey, and then 3 slices of ham to go over the turkey in case somebody's looking.
There you go. Yeah.
And then bacon, and then a very, very like good tomato. It's got to be a really good tomato. And then what's the I can't think of the sauce that I like. It's kind of like mayonnaise, but it's got a little kick to it, a little spicy kick to it. I can't remember what it's not Chipotle or but something.
Huh. So not like okay. Oh, Reuben.
And then lightly
Who said he likes the Reuben and this, Corey? Pay attention. You know, this is what happens when you take naps during the show, Corey. Okay.
Hey, wait a minute, my wife is here. Hey, what's the mayonnaise, but it's spicy sauce that I put on sandwiches?
Chipotle?
It's not Chipotle. It's kind of like that, though. Horseradish.
Oh,
there you go.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Boom.
man.
High five. High five.
I get a
There you
cameo. I answered the question right.
go.
You did. You nailed
That's
it.
my wife, huh? No, give them another look.
They don't need another.
They need another look. The people that are listening need to know, stay out of the weight room and buy a joke book. And this
That's
is what
right.
you get.
Yes. Yes. My wife will back that up. All right. Andy.
We're almost done. I'm doing random questions.
Yeah, we're doing random questions. We're almost done. It's almost dinner time. I know. Sorry. Okay. Andy.
Yeah. What was your favorite toy growing up?
I'll show you.
I was going to say,
Yes.
you just got it for Christmas.
That's right. Oh man.
Right
So
there.
cool. Those
Right
are the
there.
best. Those are the best.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. I can't believe they found those.
So
That's
I know.
cool.
It's pretty crazy.
Did you have the Aquaman too? Remember there was an Aquaman one?
Yeah. So
Yes.
I don't have Aquaman, so don't get super excited.
Oh.
Oh,
But I have these two also.
Oh,
So Penguin and
dude.
Shazam.
Oh my gosh.
That's incredible.
That's amazing. Excuse me.
My kids love me.
Yeah. I'm tell them what I want for Christmas.
Right. Yeah.
They've
Let's see.
seen
What's
the
the most
show.
annoying
Sorry.
sound, Bob?
It's now time for 9 random things.
Yes, absolutely. Nailed it. All right, Andy.
It's your night to order pizza for the family, and you get to choose. What do we get?
Canadian
sandwich.
bacon and olives and black olives.
Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm down with that. Let's see. What is the best way to travel?
Cruise ship.
Oh, yeah. Well, all right. That is true. Because, you're not even really traveling. You're just in a boat. Bob or Andy.
Okay. Your food is bad at a restaurant. Do you say anything?
Oh yeah. Yeah. You do it politely and you make it funny. You make a joke, but you definitely have to let them know that it's bad, or they're going to keep serving it and not know. So
yeah,
you do it you find a funny way to let them know, but you have to tell them.
Okay.
Nice. Absolutely. Number one bucket list item.
Besides being on the show,
No, that's number one.
We love
not
you, Bob.
number-
We love you so much, man.
I don't know. I've been to all the states. Bucket list. I want to go to Australia.
Oh.
All right.
So I think
They have the most poisonous snakes and spiders and stuff in Australia.
that's kind of why I want to go. Like it's I hide this, but I am a very redneck outdoor type person. So I really want to go to the outback.
Yep.
Okay.
There's probably one about 5 miles down the road.
Yeah, we're not allowed back in there.
Oh, so the Australian outback. I got it.
I sent the food back, and I didn't do it in a funny, nice way. So
His wife
lesson
popped
learned.
in, so I figured
Yeah.
there's my wife. She's popping
Hello.
in.
Hello.
She's telling me dinner's almost ready.
I know. That's what my wife was doing.
Never mind, we're going to McDonald's.
Oh, we're not.
Going to it's Taco Tuesday, Taco Bell. So
There you go.
So I learned how to be funny from my dad, and one of the first jokes I remember him telling, we were talking to some elders at our church in the lobby after church, and he said, you know, my two boys, he was talking about me and my brother. He goes, my two boys, they always want to help out, and like yesterday they wanted to help out with the dishes after the meal, but the people at Burger King told us to get out of the kitchen, and they died laughing. And I was like, wait a minute, how did he do that? Like that was so I remember that was like one of the first jokes I remember hearing my dad just dropped on people.
One more time. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
It is Burger King. That's the
Yeah.
Corey Hall says hello too, by the way.
Hello.
Yeah. She says hi, Corey. So
I still remember the first joke I ever told my mom.
what was the first joke you ever told your mom?
I don't want to say it on here.
Well, now I want to hang out with your mom.
Not a very
Yeah.
joke, is it?
No, it's not bad.
Oh, well then what? Honey, this show is
Yeah. So
She obviously didn't hear the beginning,
yeah, I know. She
Right.
so she's just like everybody else in America.
Yeah.
where most of them are thankful for.
Nobody
Yeah.
heard it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was 8 years old and I told my mother this joke. And then I ran. I said, Mom, how do you catch an elephant? And she's like, I don't know. I said, well, you dig a big hole and you put ashes in it. And when the elephant comes by, you push it in the ash hole.
You will never work at my club, young lady, with that blue material.
That's why I love you, babe. And yeah, and then she rolls her eyes at my jokes. Really? Okay. Oh, Andy, let's go one more.
Yeah. So you can book your own show. You're headlining. Who's the feature and who's the host?
Oh, that's a great question. So Christian McCartney would be my opening guy.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys know him. He is like a young. Do you guys know who he is?
I
No.
know the name.
He is. He's going to be huge. He is like, I guess the best way to describe him is like a very young, black Jim Carrey. His
Ooh.
facial expressions, his energy is phenomenal. I met him at a comedy conference, and my wife and I immediately just loved him. But he's just a young kid, and so
Yeah.
you know, and he had seen a lot of my stuff, and so he ended up hanging out with us, you know, the last couple of days of the conference. And I was like, Christian, man, I love you. I love your heart for the Lord. You're hilarious. Like, if we want to do some stuff, maybe we can do some videos together and I can help you get some social media presence. And he was like, that would be so great. Cause I knew he was a good character, like just a good, and then he left and I thought, you know what, I'm going to look him up and see if he even has social. So I looked on TikTok and that sucker had 3.8 million followers. So I had to call him and go, Christian, can we do some videos so you can help me
Right.
get some followers?
Oh my god!
I'm gonna say, and my wife just surprised me. One of my Christmas gifts was Brian Regan tickets. We're seeing him Saturday night.
Oh,
He's great.
So I would say I would have to, if I could pick anybody, I'd probably pick Brian.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
no,
Brian's-
yeah, Brian
Sorry,
Regan's
Hawkins.
So great.
yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, you got to say Hawkins. I mean,
Yeah.
because he paid you for that, right?
He has helped build this house. So that is true.
He is great. I would love to get him on here.
Yeah,
Hey,
that
if you
won't
ever,
happen.
I know. I can't afford that. Maybe if you could send Christian our way, I'd love to have him on. It sounds like
Oh yeah, he would be great on here.
and then he'd resent it completely.
Yeah.
But all right, let's do this last one. You've got 30 no, I don't want to do that. Where's your happy place?
Really here in my house, like
Yeah.
with my wife. It sounds sappy, but my wife is the perfect partner for me. So my happy place is just at home with her. And that's a real answer. That's not a cheesy like that.
Honest, true, and awesome. That's the way it should be, buddy. No, Bob, man, that's so great. Hey, man, I cannot thank you enough for taking time out. I know it's dinner time and you got to get going. But man, okay. BobSmiley.com. Check it out. All the tour dates are on there. You can find Average Boy on there, or just go to focusonthefamily.com and you can find him through there, or averageboy.org. O-R-G. Not
very
com.
important.
Yeah, very, very, very important. So make sure you check all that out. We'll have links for it on our website as well. Bob, again, thank you for taking time out, and thank your lovely wife for letting us borrow you for a good hour and a half or so. So
I will.
I appreciate you, my brother. You are the bestest, and we will keep talking, and I'd love to have you come back on when you get some free time later on, man. Or I know you're going to be busy for a long time, so maybe in a few years when you forget about this, you'll come back on.
Yeah. I like the 3-year waiting period. We'll do
There
that.
you go. All right. Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen,
Thank you, Bob.
Smiley, thank you so much, my friend. Oh my gosh, he's awesome. Love it.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. All right, we got to get going. Let's wrap things up. Okay, so next week,
I might
and again,
not have
like I
loaded this
said,
one.
everybody, all these links will be on our website with the show. So make sure you can just go to randomchristianshow.com. You'll find links to Bob's websites and everything there. And be looking out in summertime for the new Average Boy book coming out. Where are we at? Why is my
I didn't load next week's in there.
well
I forgot.
next week we're
Ashley Hargrove and Win Reicher.
yes, and actors and directors. They, like I said, they've got a list of movies and stuff that you have either heard of or will recognize one way or the when you see their faces, you're like, oh. So make sure you're here with us, checking that out. We're gonna have a lot of fun, just like we had with Mr. Smiley. Cannot thank him enough for this. Andy, any parting words of wisdom?
You know what? Have a great week, everybody. We love you. Thank you for coming in, and have a great week.
Yeah. Okay. I guess there's nothing left to say. Then we thank you all so much. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe. Hey, you know what? We took those 3 weeks off, came back with technical glitches, popped right back into the number 5 spot of
So great.
top indie comedy interview podcast. Cannot thank you all enough. Again, 1/30th of a cent every time you guys watch this or listen, and that's amazing. It really is for something that we've been pushing out here for with Andy and me just a little right around 2 years, but for 3 years, and we've gotten to this, and we cannot thank you all enough. So make sure you're good to each other. Take care of each other. God bless you, kids. You're all the bestest. Be good to each other. We love you. We'll see you next week, Tuesday, 4 p.m. Central, because we're going to be moving to Friday soon. So don't forget about that.
Not next week.
No.
Back on Tuesday.
After the 6th. After the 6th of February. All right? All right, kids. Be good to each other. We'll talk to you next week.